A shopper asks ChatGPT for a coffee maker under $200. Sounds familiar? Well, they didn't go to Google, they didn't try to go on Amazon, and they definitely did not go on your site. They actually went inside ChatGPT. And that matters because the first serious comparison now happens before the shopper ever reaches your storefront.
This is AI Change Desk. Thank you for choosing to tune in.
This is AI Change Desk, Episode 14, Commerce Surface Check. If Episode 11 was about AI disappearing into the work surface, and Episode 12 was about whether anyone could actually see what change is doing, well, this is customer-facing version of the same shift. A new surface matters most when it changes where decisions begin. And that is what happened this week. On March 24th, OpenAI said it improved shopping in ChatGPT so users can discover, compare, and decide on products more easily. The company says results are more visually rich, easier to compare side by side, and better on data coverage, freshness, and speed. OpenAI also said these improvements are powered by an expansion of the agentic commerce protocol for product discovery. That's the first signal. The second signal is the merchant side. Also on March 24th, Shopify said millions of merchants can now sell to ChatGPT users through what it calls the agentic storefront. And the operator detail there is not just disruption, it's control. Shopify says orders can carry ChatGPT referral attribution and that merchants remain the merchant of record. That is a much more operational statement than AI shopping is growing. And there is the concrete retailer example. Sephora announced an app in ChatGPT that helps customers discover products with recommendations tied to their Beauty Insider profile, and if they choose to link it. And the only reason I know what Beauty Insider is, I could thank that to my wife. Anywho, Sephora also said users can use loyalty rewards and certain benefits now, and while payments and checkout inside the app planned for a future update. So let's put those together, and the pattern gets pretty clear. Discovery is moving. Not all commerce, not all checkout, not all intent, but discovery, comparison, and early narrowing of options are starting to happen in a conversation AI surface before the shopper reaches the same place most items and most teams still treat as the real beginning of the funnel. And that is where operators need to wake up a little. Because if discovery moves upstream off your site, then your old measurement habits get weak very, very quickly. Okay, I don't mean to be dramatic, but guess what? You can still measure site traffic, you can still measure cart conversion, you can still measure paid performance, but I hate to break it to you, if a customer already got half the decision made inside ChatGPT, then your site analytics are only seeing the second half of the story. That's the value here. The value is not that OpenAI added prettier shopping cards. The value is that product discovery is being an AI native operating surface. And when a new surface becomes real, the team that win are usually not the ones with the most excited launch post. They're the teams that figure out what actually needs to be instrumented. So what should operators care about this week? Well, 3 things. And luckily you're listening to this podcast. So first, product data quality just got more consequential. If a conversational system is deciding what to surface, compare, summarize, and rank, then clean titles, attributes, images, availability, and price freshness are no longer a catalog hygiene issue sitting off in the corner. They are discoverability infrastructure. That is one reason the Shopify language matters. It's not describing AI chat as novelty plugin. It has described AI channels as another commerce surface that needs centralized product and order infrastructure behind it. Second, attribution is about to get messier and more important. If a platform can tell you a shopper came from ChatGPT, good, that's useful, but it's not enough. You still need to know whether the product was surfaced because your feed was clean, because your merchant ranking was stronger, because the shopper asked a highly specific question, or because the category is simply easy for the model to compare. So AI referral traffic is not a full answer. It's the beginning of the answer. Third, merchandising and channel teams are going to collide here because this is where teams usually get it wrong. They treat the whole story like PR or SEO. They say, great, we need to show up in ChatGPT now. Okay, fine, but that's only the outer layer. The deeper question is whether your internal systems are good enough for AI native discovery. Do you have clean attributes? Do you have current price availability? Do you have a clear path from product detail to merchant detail to conversion? Do you know which categories are safe for the surface and which ones are going to create support headaches? I just have a headache reading all about this. This is the chapter where teams usually get uncomfortable. Talking about it makes me uncomfortable. Well, because be visible in AI sounds strategic, but fix the product feed, align attribution, and decide which categories are ready sounds way more operational. And operational is where the real work is. Here's the mini case I want people to keep in their head. Take something simple, like small kitchen appliances. A shopper says, I want an espresso machine, under $400. That is easy to clean and does not take up that much counter space. That's already a structured buying question. If ChatGPT can compare options side by side and narrow the field before the shopper clicks out, then your advantage is not just brand recognition. Your advantage is whether your product data helps you survive the comparison. And if your dimensions are inconsistent, if your cleaning features are vague, and if your images are weak, well, and if your pricing is stale, ooh, man, you're not losing at the checkout. I hate to break it to you. You're losing them before the shopper ever gets to your webpage. That's a different failure point, and that is why this week matters. Now, the hidden trade-off. There's a temptation to hear all of this and think, great, a higher intent shopper arrives pre-qualified, maybe, but the trade-off is concentration. The more discovery happens upstream in a small number of AI surfaces, the more pressure shifts to whoever controls the comparison layer, the ranking logic, the metadata quality, and the merchant selection rules. OpenAI's own shopping help documentation is useful here. It says product results are not ads and are not influenced by partnerships. It also says merchant ranking can depend on things like availability, price, quality, whether the merchant is the maker or the primary seller, and whether instant checkout is enabled. That's helpful. But it also means operators cannot treat this like a simple paid placement model but it also means operators can't treat this like a simple paid placement model they already understand. You might get more intent. You may also get less clarity about why some products surface better than others unless your data, category strategy, and merchant signals are disciplined. So what should I decide by Friday? Well, I wouldn't decide anything, but I'm going to help you decide. I would not start with the whole catalog. You're going to overwhelm yourself. I'd pick one category where comparison behavior is already common. Okay, let's maybe bring it something closer to home. Appliances, beauty, consumer electronics, home tools, something like that. Then I would do 5 things. 1, pick the category and define the actual buying question you care about, not AI commerce, a real query. Here, I'll take an example. I was just shopping for headphones. So let's say best noise canceling headphones for travel, let's say under $300. 2, audit the product data that a conversational system is most likely to lean on. So think title quality, attribute completeness, pricing accuracy, review coverage, availability, images, that kind of stuff. 3, define an attribution view specifically for AI originated demand. Not because it will be perfect, because if you do not define it early, every internal conversation becomes vibes. 4, decide whether you're only optimizing for discovery or whether you're willing to support deeper merchant side experiences. Take the Sephora example, because that shows the difference. Discovery is one level, linked loyalty, benefits, and future in-app checkouts are another. Last, pick one owner. And I know I harp on this every time. If a merchandising thinks this is e-commerce's job, and then you go back to e-commerce and they think it's growth's job, and then growth thinks it's search's job, well, nothing useful happens, like at all. This needs one operator who can force a cross-functional answer. And one thing I would not do, I would not measure success by mentions alone. And not by we show up in ChatGPT, not by the screenshots, not by one nice looking recommendation result. That is the early stage version of dashboard theater. The question is not whether you can be seen, it's whether the new surface changes qualifies discovery, category conversation, or merchant economics in a way you can actually defend. That's the threshold. Question for you this week. If product discovery starts in AI before it starts on your site, does your team know what to measure first? Well, I'll leave you that to chew on. All right. Bye, everyone.
This is AI Change Desk. See you next time.